of her license and registration. This vehicle is reported stolen.
Stolen? Officer, this is my car. There must be some mistake.
Step out now. I'm not asking twice.
I'm reaching for my wallet slowly. My name is Maya Johnson. This escalated. I register behind your back.
You can't believe what this cop does for the next 43 seconds. He's sitting in his patrol car, engine running, staring at the Escalade he just pulled over. The driver already has her window down, both hands on the steering wheel where he can see them. She's doing everything right, but he's not moving. Just sitting there, watching. What's going through his head right now? Is he nervous? Is he checking something? Or has he already decided what kind of person drives a car like that in this neighborhood? And he's just taking a moment to prepare for what he thinks is coming. 43 seconds is a long time to sit and watch someone before you even get out of your car. Long enough to make a lot of assumptions. Long enough to convince yourself you already know who you're dealing with. Here's what he doesn't know. The woman in that Escalade has put more criminals in prison than he's arrested in his entire career. She's a federal prosecutor, and she's about to become the biggest mistake he's ever made. The timestamp says 7:42 p.m. Tuesday evening. The Escalade is black with tinted windows, aftermarket rims that probably cost $3,000. It was going exactly the speed limit, using turn signals, staying in its lane, not doing a single thing that would justify a stop. But the lights came on anyway, and now here we are, in a gas station parking lot where at least 6 people are about to pull out their phones and record what happens next. The cop finally gets out of his car. He's white, looks about 40, moving with that particular kind of confidence that comes from doing something so many times you don't even think about it anymore. His right hand is already hovering near his gun before he's taken 3 steps. Old habit, maybe. Or maybe something else. He gets to the window and leans down. That's when everything starts to go sideways. The woman behind the wheel is named Maya Johnson, 38 years old. She destroys people's lives in court and sleeps fine. At night, because the people she destroys deserve it. Gang leaders, corrupt politicians, dirty cops. She's an assistant U.S. attorney in Chicago, and her conviction rate is 94%. When defense lawyers see her name on a case, they try to get their clients to take plea deals because going to trial against Maya Johnson is like bringing a knife to a gunfight. She wasn't born into this. She clawed her way here from Englewood, which, if you don't know Chicago, is the kind of place where you learn to sleep through gunshots by the time you're 7. Her dad got killed when she was 11. Robbery gone wrong at a corner store. After that, it was just Maya and her mom worked herself half to death as a nursing assistant so Maya could have a chance at something better. Maya took that chance and ran with it. Full ride to University of Chicago, Northwestern Law School, clerked for a federal judge, then joined the U.S. Attorney's Office, where she spent 11 years putting bad guys away. But here's the thing about Maya that matters for this story. She's been pulled over 6 times in the past 8 years, every single time in a nice car. Every single time by a cop who seemed surprised when they ran her license and saw Assistant U.S. Attorney pop up on their screen. Every single time ending with some version of "sorry ma'am, you're free to go." She's never filed a complaint, never made a fuss. Just took the apology and drove away because what's the point? It's her word against theirs, and even federal prosecutors don't win those fights. But this time is different. This time, she's tired. Bone tired. She's been at work since 7 that morning, prepping for a trial. Her feet hurt. Her head hurt. She just wants to get home. Take off these heels and forget about the law for a few hours. Instead, she's sitting in a gas station parking lot, watching a cop approach her car like she's armed and dangerous. She already knows how this is going to go. She's seen it before. 6 times before. But something about the way this cop is moving, the way his hand keeps drifting toward his gun, tells her this one might be different. The window's already down, both hands on the wheel. She's not giving him any excuse to escalate this. The cop gets to her window. License and registration. His voice is flat. Not polite, not rude, just flat. Like he's already bored with this interaction before it's even started. Maya keeps her voice calm. Can you tell me why you pulled me over, officer? He doesn't answer the question. License and registration now. Maya reaches slowly toward her purse on the passenger seat. I'm reaching for my wallet. It's in my purse. The cop's hand moves to his gun, actually touches it. Maya freezes. Her hand is 6 inches from her purse, and this cop has his hand on his weapon like she's about to pull out an AK-47 instead of her driver's license. Step out of the vehicle. Maya's legal training is screaming at her right now. This is unlawful. He hasn't articulated reasonable suspicion. He hasn't explained the basis for the stop. But she also knows that being right about the law doesn't protect you from being dead. Officer, I was just reaching for my ID like you asked. His voice gets harder. Out. Now. Maya opens the door slowly, steps out with her hands visible. She's wearing a suit. Charcoal gray, tailored, expensive. She looks like what she is, a professional woman driving home from work. Doesn't matter. The cop grabs her arm and spins her around toward the car. Hands on the hood. Maya's brain is moving fast now, running through case law. Thinking about all the dash cam footage she's reviewed in excessive force cases, all the traffic stops that went wrong because someone moved too fast or didn't move fast enough. What's the reason for this stop? You haven't told me why you pulled me over? This vehicle came back stolen. Hands on the hood before I put them there myself. Stolen. The word hits Maya like cold water. Her car isn't stolen. She bought it 2 years ago. Paid cash. Has the title in her safe at home. This is either a mistake or something worse. And based on the 6 previous times she's been pulled over, she's betting on something worse. Officer, there's been a misunderstanding. This car is registered to me. If you check the registration in the glove box, it'll show my name, Maya Johnson, at my current address. The cop's not listening, or he is listening, but he's already decided she's lying. Don't reach for anything. Maya keeps her hands visible on the hood. I'm not. I'm telling you where the registration is. It's in the glove box. My name is on it. The VIN will match. Turn around. Hands behind your back. Maya makes a split-second decision. She could keep arguing, could refuse to turn around until he explains himself, could demand a supervisor. But she's prosecuted enough cases to know that resisting, even lawfully, can get you hurt or killed. So she complies. Turns around, puts her hands behind her back. But she's going to make sure this cop understands exactly what he's doing. Officer, before you do something you can't take back, I need you to listen. I'm Assistant U.S. Attorney Maya Johnson. I work for the federal government. This car is mine. It's not stolen. If you check the VIN against the registration, you'll see that I'm telling you the truth. Most cops, when told they just pulled over a federal prosecutor, would pause, would verify, would realize they might be making a mistake. This cop doesn't pause. Save it. I've heard every story in the book. The handcuffs come out. Metal clicks around her wrists, cold, tight. Too tight, actually, cutting into her skin in a way that she knows is going to leave marks. These are too tight. The cop doesn't respond, just walks her toward his patrol car. By now, people are watching. A woman pumping gas has her phone out, recording. A guy coming out of the gas station stops and stares. Maya can feel their eyes on her, and it's humiliating in a way she hasn't felt since she was a kid, back when people used to look at her and her mom and make assumptions about who they were and what they deserved. The cop opens the back door of his patrol car and guides her in. She sits down, hands cuffed behind her back, and the door slams shut. Through the window, she can see people talking, pointing, recording. She wonders what they think they're seeing. Do they think she actually stole this car? Do they assume the cop must have a good reason? Or do some of them know, just by looking at her face and his face, exactly what's happening here? The cop gets in the front seat and picks up his radio. Maya can hear him talking to dispatch, but can't make out the words. She sits there, wrists hurting, heart pounding, and thinks about what comes next. Here's what she knows. She's not going to be charged with anything because she didn't do anything. Eventually, someone is going to run her license properly, see who she is, and this cop is going to have to let her go. The question is how long eventually takes, and how much worse this gets before it gets better. She also knows something the cop doesn't know yet. She's not going to let this slide like the other 6 times. She's tired of being polite, tired of accepting apologies, tired of pretending that getting pulled over 6 times in 8 years for no reason is just bad luck. This time, there's going to be consequences. The cop is still in the front seat. He's been there for 3 minutes now. Maya can see him typing on his computer. She wonders if he's running her license, checking the VIN, calling for backup, or maybe just trying to figure out what to do with a woman who says she's a federal prosecutor but who he's already decided must be lying. 4 minutes pass, 5. Then she sees his posture change, his shoulders tense. He leans closer to the computer screen, stays there for a long moment. Then he turns around and looks at her. Through the cage that separates the front seat from the back, their eyes meet. She watches him realize. It's subtle, but she sees it. The way his face changes, the way his jaw tightens. He's just figured out who she is, and he knows he's screwed. He gets out of the car, walks around to the back door, opens it. Ms. Johnson. His voice is different now, quieter, almost careful. There's been a mistake. Maya looks at him and doesn't say anything, just waits. She wants to hear how he's going to explain this, what excuse he's going to offer. The plate came back wrong. I apologize for the confusion. You're free to go. He reaches for the handcuffs. Maya pulls away. Don't touch me. I want your name, your badge number, and your supervisor's contact information before you remove these cuffs. The cop hesitates. Ma'am, I understand you're upset, but this was just a mistake with the computer system. Maya's voice is calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that comes right before someone's world falls apart. Badge number, right now. He gives it to her. Badge number 4721. Name Kevin Barrett. Supervisor Sergeant Michael Torres. Maya commits all of it to memory. Barrett removes the handcuffs. Maya's wrists are red, indented where the metal dug in. She pulls out her phone immediately and takes photos. Then she takes photos of Barrett's badge. Then his patrol car number. Barrett is watching her document everything, and you can see on his face that he's starting to understand this isn't over. You ran the wrong plate? Maya's voice is still calm, still controlled. Yes, ma'am. I transposed 2 numbers when I entered it. The plate that came back stolen wasn't yours. It was an honest mistake. Maya looks at him for a long moment. So, you pulled me over based on a mistake you made. Then you arrested me without verifying any facts, without checking my registration, without asking for ID. You just decided this car was stolen, and I was a criminal. I apologize for the error. These things happen sometimes. Maya steps closer to him. She's 5'6" in heels. He's probably 6'2". But right now she's the one with power, and they both know it. Let me tell you what's going to happen next, Officer Barrett. I'm going to file a formal complaint. Then I'm going to call some friends at the FBI and suggest they look into your traffic stop patterns. Then I'm probably going to sue you and your department. And somewhere in all of that, you're going to wish you'd taken 30 seconds to verify whose car this was before you put me in handcuffs. She gets in her Escalade and drives away. Barrett stands in that parking lot and watches her go, and he's smart enough to know his life just changed. He just doesn't know how much yet. Maya doesn't drive home. She drives straight to the FBI field office on West Roosevelt Road. It's 8:30 p.m. by the time she gets there, but federal buildings don't close, and she knows people who work late. She finds Special Agent Marcus Chen in his office. They've worked cases together before. Drug trafficking conspiracies, public corruption. He's good people. And more importantly, he owes her a favor from a case last year where her testimony saved his investigation. Maya, what are you doing here? She doesn't waste time with small talk. I need to file a formal complaint about a traffic stop, and I need you to look into something for me. She tells him what happened, shows him the photos of her wrists, gives him Barrett's badge number. Chen listens without interrupting. When she's done, he leans back in his chair and shakes his head. You want me to open an investigation into this guy's stop patterns? I want you to pull his data for the last 5 years. Every stop, every search, every arrest. I want to know if I'm the first person he's done this to or the 100th. Chen looks at her for a moment. And if I find a pattern? Maya's voice doesn't waver. Then we burn him down. Chen pulls up his computer and starts typing. Within 20 minutes, he has access to the Chicago PD database through federal law enforcement channels. Within an hour, he's running analysis on Barrett's stops. What he finds makes him whistle low. Maya, you need to see this. She comes around the desk to look at the screen. Barrett has made 2,347 traffic stops in 16 years. 1,923 of them were black motorists. That's 82%, in a city that's 30% black. The numbers are staring at them from the screen, undeniable and damning. But Chen keeps digging. He pulls up another data set. He's claimed stolen vehicles 47 times. Look at this. He runs the VIN numbers on all 47 stops. 44 of them come back as not stolen. Barrett was wrong 44 times out of 47. Maya feels something cold settle in her chest. Who were the drivers in those 44 stops? Chen checks. His face changes. 43 were black. 1 was Hispanic. Maya stares at the screen. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't one bad stop. This was a pattern. Barrett had been doing this for years, using stolen vehicle as an excuse to pull over black drivers, and nobody had noticed because nobody was looking at the data. Pull his complaint history. Chen does. 13 complaints over 16 years, 11 from black motorists, all marked unfounded by internal affairs. Every single one dismissed without serious investigation. Maya looks at the screen for a long time. Then she makes a decision. I want the DOJ Civil Rights Division to see this, all of it. Tonight. Chen nods. He knows what she's asking. This isn't just about one traffic stop anymore. This is about exposing a pattern that's been hiding in plain sight for 16 years. I'll make the call. By midnight, federal prosecutors from the Civil Rights Division are reviewing Barrett's data. By morning, they're opening a full investigation. Not just into Barrett, into his whole district. Because if one officer can have numbers this skewed, and nobody notices, what does that say about the oversight? What does that say about the system? The story breaks on the news 2 days later. Federal prosecutor arrested during traffic stop. Alleges racial profiling. The dashcam footage goes with it, and once people see it, it spreads like wildfire. The video shows everything. Barrett approaching with his hand on his gun. Maya complying with every order. Maya identifying herself clearly as a federal prosecutor. Barrett arresting her anyway, without verifying a single fact. The 13 minutes she spent in the back of his patrol car while he figured out he'd just made the biggest mistake of his career. It's viewed 8 million times in the first day, 15 million by the end of the week. The response is immediate and fierce. The U.S. Attorney's Office issues a statement condemning the stop. The FBI Agents Association calls for a full investigation. Civil rights groups organize protests outside Chicago PD headquarters. Local news. Crews are camped outside the police station. National outlets pick up the story. Everyone wants to know how a federal prosecutor got arrested for driving her own car. But Maya isn't paying attention to any of that. She's busy working with the DOJ attorneys who are building the case against Barrett. Because here's what most people don't understand about federal investigations. They're slow, they're thorough, and when they're done right, they're devastating. The DOJ doesn't just want Barrett, they want everyone like him, and they're willing to take their time to get it right. For 9 months, federal investigators comb through data. They analyze 8,400 traffic stops from Barrett's district over 3 years. They look at search rates, arrest rates, the reasons given for stops, the outcomes of those stops. They interview motorists who were stopped. They review body cam footage. They build a case brick by brick. The findings are released in a 247-page report that makes national news. Black motorists in Barrett's district are stopped at 4.1 times the rate of white motorists. They're searched at 5.3 times the rate. But here's the part that proves it's not about crime or safety. The hit rate for contraband is only 9% for black motorists versus 31% for white motorists. That means cops are searching black drivers based on hunches that are wrong 91% of the time, while their searches of white drivers turn up evidence 31% of the time. If they were actually stopping people based on legitimate suspicion of criminal activity, those numbers would be reversed. The disparities can't be explained by crime rates, can't be explained by neighborhood demographics, can only be explained by one thing: racial profiling. Kevin Barrett is fired 11 weeks after he pulled over Maya. His termination letter cites engaging in a pattern of racial profiling, falsifying the basis for traffic stops, unlawful detention, and conduct unbecoming an officer. He appeals through his union. The department shows the dashcam footage at his appeal hearing, shows the data on his stops, shows the emails they found where he joked about knowing what to look for in stolen vehicles. The appeal is denied in 11 minutes, but the DOJ isn't done. They've found evidence that Barrett knowingly, willfully, repeatedly violated the constitutional rights of motorists based on race. That's not just a firing offense. That's a federal crime. United States versus Kevin Barrett, 3 counts of deprivation of rights under color of law, maximum sentence 10 years per count. The trial lasts 8 days. Maya testifies on day 4. She walks into that courtroom wearing the same suit she wore the night Barrett arrested her, sits in the witness box, looks directly at Barrett. Then she pulls out a list. Your Honor, I'd like to enter this into evidence. It's a list of 43 people. Officer Barrett stopped claiming their vehicles were stolen. In 43 cases, the vehicles weren't stolen. Officer Barrett was wrong every single time. And in 43 cases, the driver was black. She reads the names. All 43 of them. It takes 6 minutes. The courtroom is silent. I'm here because I have the power to be here. I'm a federal prosecutor. I know how to file complaints. I know who to call at the FBI. I have colleagues at the DOJ who opened an investigation within hours. But these 43 people didn't have that power. They got stopped. They got searched. Some of them got arrested. They got humiliated in front of their families, their neighbors, strangers with cameras. And they went home thinking that's just how it is. That's just what happens when you're black and you drive a nice car. She looks at Barrett. I'm here for them. Because this isn't about me. It's about a system that let you do this for 16 years while everyone looked the other way. The prosecution brings in a statistician who explains to the jury what the numbers mean. That Barrett's pattern of stops is so far outside the norm that the probability of it being random is essentially zero, that you'd have better odds of winning the lottery twice than you would of accidentally producing these numbers without deliberate racial targeting. The defense tries to argue that Barrett was just doing his job, that high-crime areas require aggressive policing, that the stolen vehicle stops were honest mistakes. The prosecution destroys that argument by showing that Barrett's false stolen vehicle stops weren't concentrated in high-crime areas. They were concentrated wherever he found black people driving nice cars. The emails sealed his fate. Messages to other officers, where he bragged about his gift for spotting stolen vehicles, where he talked about knowing what to look for and nice car, wrong driver, you know the drill. The jury convicts him on all 3 counts. The judge sentences him to 18 months in federal prison. At the sentencing hearing, the judge says something that makes it into every news report about the case. Officer Barrett, your job was to enforce the law, not to decide who looks like they belong in what car. Not to use your badge as permission to harass people based on the color of their skin. You betrayed the trust the public placed in you. You violated the constitutional rights of dozens of people, and you did it for 16 years while your department looked the other way. 18 months is the sentence. I hope you use that time to reflect on the harm you've caused. Barrett goes to federal prison in March. He's still there now, serving his time. Maya's civil lawsuit against the city of Chicago settles, while Barrett is awaiting sentencing. The city doesn't want a trial, doesn't want more headlines, doesn't want Maya on the stand in front of a jury explaining how it felt to be handcuffed in front of strangers for driving her own car. They offer $1.4 million. The settlement also requires the city to implement reforms, mandatory bias training for all officers, early warning systems to flag officers with problematic stop patterns, civilian oversight of traffic stop data, quarterly audits looking for racial disparities, independent review of all use of force incidents. It's not everything Maya wanted, but it's something. Maya takes the settlement check and immediately starts writing other checks. $600,000 split among 5 legal aid organizations that provide free representation to people in civil rights cases. $200,000 for a scholarship fund for black students going to law school. $100,000 to her mom. First thing she does is buy her mom a house. Not in Englewood. Somewhere safe, somewhere quiet, somewhere her mom can finally rest after 40 years of working herself to exhaustion. The rest goes to taxes and attorney fees. People ask Maya if she feels vindicated, if the money made her feel better about what happened. She tells them the money doesn't make her feel anything. The reforms might help someone else avoid what happened to her. That's what matters. But here's what she doesn't tell them. What she hasn't told anyone except maybe her mom. She still thinks about that night, still feels the handcuffs when she's falling asleep sometimes, still sees Barrett's face when he realized who she was, still remembers standing in that parking lot with red marks on her wrists, knowing that if she'd been anyone else, anyone without power or connections or a badge that mattered, it would have ended differently. Maybe she'd have spent the night in jail. Maybe she'd have a record now. Maybe she'd have lost time at work explaining to her boss why she got arrested. Maybe it would have cost her the career she'd spent 15 years building. Maya is still a federal prosecutor, still prosecuting major crimes, still winning cases. She's taken on 4 more police misconduct cases since Barrett, won all 4. She's become the prosecutor that dirty cops fear, and she's fine with that. Actually, she's more than fine with it. She's built a reputation. Defense attorneys know that when Maya Johnson takes a police misconduct case, she's not looking for a quick settlement. She's looking to expose patterns, to force accountability, to make sure what happened to her doesn't happen to someone else. Because here's what Maya Johnson understands that most people don't. The system doesn't fix itself. It protects itself until someone with enough power forces accountability. She has that power now, and she's going to use it every chance she gets. The dash cam footage is still online, still being watched, still being shared. Over 22 million views now. It's shown in law schools as an example of unlawful detention, in police training as an example of implicit bias, in civil rights seminars as an example of what systemic racism actually looks like in practice. And every time someone watches it, they're seeing a moment. 13 minutes, one traffic stop, but what they're really seeing is a system. A system that let Kevin Barrett make 2,347 traffic stops over 16 years, 82% of them black motorists, and never once questioned whether there was a pattern. A system that let him claim stolen vehicles 47 times, be wrong 44 times, and never once investigated why. A system that received 13 complaints about him and marked all 13 as unfounded without serious investigation. A system that only paid attention when he made the mistake of arresting someone with enough power to force accountability. That's the real story here. Not that Maya won, but that winning required being a federal prosecutor with connections at the FBI and the DOJ. That justice required power. What happens to everyone who doesn't have that power? They're still out there, still driving, still getting pulled over, still getting searched based on hunches that are wrong 91% of the time, still wondering if this time will be the time that ruins their life. Kevin Barrett is in federal prison right now. He'll get out in a few months. He'll never be a cop again, but he'll get out. The 43 people on Maya's list, the ones Barrett stopped claiming their vehicles were stolen when they weren't, they're still out there, still carrying the memory of being treated like criminals for the crime of driving while black, still wondering if the next time they get pulled over will go differently. And that should bother you. It should bother you that the system worked for Maya because she had power, but it didn't work for 43 other people who didn't. It should bother you that Barrett operated for 16 years with numbers so skewed they were statistically impossible to explain as anything but deliberate racial targeting. And nobody noticed until Maya made them look. It should bother you that right now, tonight, somewhere in America, another cop is pulling over another black motorist based on nothing but assumptions and bias, and that driver doesn't have Maya's advantages. They don't have her badge. They don't have her connections. They don't have her power. They just have the fear, the anger, the humiliation of being treated like they don't belong. And most of them will never get justice because the system isn't designed to give it to them. Maya won because she could force the system to pay attention, but most people can't. And until we fix that, until justice doesn't require power, nothing really changes. The reforms are a start. The training might help. The oversight might catch the next Barrett before he racks up 16 years of violations. But the fundamental problem remains. The system protects itself. It always has. And it takes someone with extraordinary power to force accountability. Think about that the next time you see dashcam footage of a traffic stop. Think about who's in the car. Think about what assumptions are being made before the window even rolls down. Think about what would happen if that person didn't have a badge or a law degree or connections in high places. Think about whether they'd get justice or whether they'd just become another name on a list that nobody ever reads.